If you're ever confused about what the America First agenda is all about, then have a listen to Donald Trump here. Give a warning to John Deere, manufacturer of agricultural machinery and heavy equipment. This is America First.
I just noticed behind me John Deere tractors. I know a lot about John Deere. I love the company. But as you know, they've announced a few days ago that they're going to move a lot of their manufacturing business to Mexico. I'm just notifying John Deere right now. If you do that, we're putting a 200% tariff on everything that you want to sell into the United States, so that if I win, John Deere is going to be paying a 200%.
Joining me now is documentary filmmaker and commentator Ami Horowitz. Ami, John Deere announced earlier this year that they would lay off hundreds of workers, I think around 600 odd, at three of their plants and shift production from those plants to Mexico by the end of 2026. What we saw there from Trump is precisely what he needs to go back to. That's America First.
Yeah, I don't agree with you on this one. This is, in my view, an example of neomercantilism, the idea that there is a static amount of wealth in the world and that all nation states are competing for it, and that all trade is zero sum. I don't believe that. It's not what capitalism and the free market is all about. We've had more modern examples of how tariffs and duties have hurt our country. For example, Smith-Hawley Tariff Act, which in fact, when it raised its tariffs and duties, it lengthened and deepened the Great Depression. These are not the way to proceed. Look, there are uses for tariffs. For example, how Trump used it in his first administration to punish and punitively against China, when China was doing things like dumping steel, tariffs on our products. That's a proper use for tariffs when you're trying to engage in a country who's attacking you. But to use it against an American country who's simply looking for a more efficient way to build their manufacturing facilities because we have an inefficient labor system and regulatory market is not the proper way to use tariffs. I'm sorry.
Well, I disagree wholeheartedly. I understand that the principles you talk about there, but in practice, we're talking about hundreds of well-paid American jobs, often in areas where there are not other jobs for those workers to go to. And as a leader, his number one priority should be the welfare of Americans. And if that means putting pressure on companies to have a little bit of loyalty to their home country, then so be it. You see other countries using tariffs to protect their industries extensively throughout Europe, Asia. I don't see why America should hamstring itself to have this free trade when other countries don't play by those rules. But we could debate this for a long time. Let's talk about Vice President Kamala Harris, because she is reportedly going to be back at the southern border, this time in Arizona. She is the border czar. She was telling us in 2022 the border is secure. Now she says it needs work, but it's all Donald Trump's fault.
Would you call the border secure?
The border is secure.
You're confident this border is secure?
We have a secure border.
After decades in law enforcement, I know the importance of safety and security, especially at our border. As president, I will bring back the bipartisan border security bill that he killed, and I will sign it into law.
Ami, this visit, I think, is going to be only the second time she's visited the border since she got that border czar role, or whatever she wants to call it nowadays. Is she going to be able to convince Americans that she cares about border security? She's got a long history of advocating for all sorts of benefits for illegal immigrants, saying illegal immigration isn't a crime. There's a chant she was leading back in 2018 that's just gone viral, where she's saying down with deportations. It's clear where her values lie. Is she going to be able to convince Americans that she's serious about cutting the numbers coming across illegally?
No. I mean, this is what you call national gaslighting. Her trying to reframe herself as a border hawk. You have got to be kidding me. And nobody's believing it because she's down double digits on the immigration issue, the second biggest issue that Americans care about. Look, if she wanted, in fact, be tough on the border, she had almost 4 years to do it under the Biden-Harris administration. As she was, well, I don't want to use the word border czar, because I never used the word border czar. She was just in charge of the border, right? I don't know, what could she have done? Well, she could have done a border deal before last year or earlier this year. What else could she have done? She could have maybe implemented what Trump had done to stop illegal immigration into our country. For example, she could have simply done remain in Mexico, maybe the greatest tool we ever had to keep illegals out of our country. She could have continued to build the wall. She could have had increased deportations. Look, we have the receipts on you, Kamala. We don't have to guess at what your policies would be. We've had years of it, and we've had you talking about it. We've had 11.5 million people at least cross into our border illegally. We know you wanted to abolish ICE, and of course, we heard you chanting. We have a video of you chanting, "No more deportations," with, by the way, I'm so glad I'm able to pick up this name again, the great Jussie Smollett. Oh, I miss talking about him. I wish we could bring him back in the news. I think we just did.
You did. Don't ever miss a chance to mention Jussie. That was still one of the most extraordinary news events of the last decade. Now to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. He's visited an ammunition manufacturing plant in Pennsylvania, which has been instrumental in supplying Ukraine with munitions, but it's his campaigning for the Harris-Walz team that is raising more than a few eyebrows, Ami. How is this visit being viewed, and what's the commentary been like in the US?
I cannot believe this has not been covered more by the American media. That is truly, truly unbelievable. Look, what do we have here? We have a foreign leader who's being flown in by the administration to Pennsylvania, the most battlegroundy states of the battleground states, ostensibly to go tour a munitions facility. But guess what? He didn't have to go to Pennsylvania. This is so politically brazen, it's unbelievable. He didn't have to go to Pennsylvania. He could have, we supply them with weapons built all across the United States. He could have gone to Ohio, South Carolina, Alabama. All these places are building weapons for Ukraine. But they sent him to Pennsylvania, and he should have said no. This is a tactical and strategic mistake for Ukraine because he needs Republicans to vote for packages for Ukraine. We passed a package for aid to Ukraine because the Republican House passed it over. And by the way, Zelensky, Trump may become president, and the guy has a pretty thin skin when you hit him. This is a massive mistake, and I cannot believe it's not being more covered.
And you're a Ukraine supporter. You support their cause, you support the fight. And if you're questioning the judgment here of President Zelensky to participate in this sort of political campaigning for the Harris camp, I think that says plenty. And you're right, if Trump becomes president again, what does that mean? Is he going to remember this and hold it against President Zelensky when they next negotiate for a package? It just seems to be a ill thought out decision on his part. Now let's go to Springfield, Ohio, the town that Trump put on the map when he mentioned he alleged there were cats and dogs being eaten. The residents there are continuing to lift the lid on the impact of up to 20,000 immigrants from Haiti being deposited into their small town. Here's one young woman's viral post.
Driving through Springfield, Ohio, I am terrified to drive my car through Springfield, Ohio. It is a scary place to drive your car through. They do not know what lane to turn from. They do not know any traffic laws, so I know I'm not the only one. But I've been stalked through stores by Haitian men.
And Vivek Ramaswamy was in Springfield as well. And he heard from a father who explained that his son, who serves in the US Army in Germany, can't bring his wife and his newborn child to America unless he enlists for another 4 years.
He's married over there. He's going to be having a baby next month. For him to get the baby to come here to the United States and his wife, he has to do 4 more years. But the Haitians come over here and get everything.
So in order for, I missed that because
for them to get their visa, their plane ticket, he has to do 4 more years.
It's a fair question, Ami. When you're seeing these immigrants from Haiti coming in, no questions asked, and then you've got someone who's serving their country and he can't bring his own child unless he enlists for another 4 years. You can understand why so many in that community are upset for a variety of reasons.
Look, this is, again, another example of why immigration is one of the, again, I'll continue to say it because it's important and it's true, it's the second most important issue outside of the economy that we have in our country. And of course, it is a spectacular fail for the Harris-Biden administration. Also, look, again, I don't want to continue to beat a dead horse. It does also highlight the failure of Trump when he had to. There's no reason to create a false argument, such as the pets being eaten in Ohio, in Springfield, Ohio, when you have real problems in Springfield, Ohio, highlighted by that woman we just saw. Now, of course, the left keep trying to frame this as a race-based issue. Why are you attacking Springfield, Ohio, and the Haitians? Because they're all black. But look, I don't know. I just saw that video. That woman, she kind of looked black to me. I'm not sure. I don't see race.
No, and I don't think it's a cultural issue. I heard an American, black African-American pastor talk about this, and he said this isn't a race issue. But I want to ask you about Melmore. We discussed him on last night's show. He had this mad rant on stage, encouraging the crowd to chant F America, and also made various claims about Israel.
Yeah, America. October 7th happens and I start paying attention and I start learning. It's a genocide, absolutely, and it has been since 1948. Don't get it twisted.
He went on and on. You don't want to hear any more, Ami, but he's joins a long list of celebrities, I've got to say, who have used their platforms to push this anti-Israeli agenda. We've had Susan Sarandon, an Oscar-winning actress, who said the October 7 rape claims were myths. And we had supermodel Bella Hadid, who's implied that Hamas treat their hostages better than Israel treats Palestinian detainees. There's a whole long list of celebs who've been very critical of Israel, to say the least. Even Jewish film directors have condemned Israel. Have a listen to Jonathan Glazer's acceptance speech at the Oscars and Sarah Freeland's speech at the Venice Film Festival.
Right now, we stand here as men who refute their Jewishness and the Holocaust being hijacked by an occupation which has led to conflict for so many innocent people.
I must note, I'm accepting this award on the 336th day of Israel's genocide in Gaza and 76th year of occupation.
Ami, you expect the entertainment industry to be supportive of the only real democracy in the Middle East, but that's not evident these days.
Yeah, you'd be mistaken if you would think that, oh, you're so naive, Rita. Oh, little poor naive Rita. Look, Melmore in particular, he went on, by the way, also to trash America, said how much he hates America. I don't know if you guys talked about it last night, but he had his concert a couple of years ago. He went on stage as a rabbi with a big hook-nosed Jew jumping around and singing about being cheap with his song, with his song Thrift Store. It's a very good song. No, he's a disgusting person, disgusting human being, and is exemplifying it here with that.
Yeah, and it was very odd because during that rant, he mentioned that he really got an interest in this issue post-October 7. So that, to me, is pretty shocking in itself, that that's when he decided to take a closer look and he came out condemning Israel, which was attacked on October 7. So I do not understand that at all. Ami Horowitz, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time.